Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is a very special edition of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film. And with me tonight, I have a very special guest, Mr. Dan Abella, founder of the Philip K. Dick Film Festival. Dan, how's it going? It's been a while.
It has been
That's
quite some time. I think 4 years ago, as a matter of fact, the last time we met.
right. Well, it's just great to see you again after all this time. And I remember going to the festival and meeting Tom Sizemore. That was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, the festival, I spoke with you, it was about 4 years ago.
Right.
Uh, how has the festival evolved since then?
Well, since 2018, we had, as you know, we had a good number of guests and celebrities show up that year. It's Tom Sizemore, Nikki Klein. Um, we had Armand Asante. It was,
Right.
star-studded for New York Festival, definitely star-studded. So the following year, we ended up in at the West Coast. We
Okay.
thought it would be very appropriate to have at least one festival near at the town where Philip K. Dick lived. So
Hmm.
we are able to get a grant, a funding for the local association, and we were able to do a festival there,
Hmm.
literally a stone throws away from where he last lived in Santa Ana, California.
Okay. Very cool, very cool. And how did this connection to Philip develop? I know you were very fascinated about science fiction, but how did this fascination begin for you?
Well, I think that I've always been interested in the philosophical sci-fi, not so much spaceships and distant planets, but more the sci-fi that combines philosophical explorations with and it that explores the more metaphysical questions that some of us ask.
Hmm.
Films like 2001, The Space Odyssey, or Blade Runner were
Hmm.
films that I thought always resonated with me. So I also been I happen to be a big follower of the Argentinian writer Borges,
Hmm.
and I came across a review by Ursula K. Le Guin, famous sci-fi writer, and
Hmm.
she said we have our own Borges, and his name is Philip K. Dick.
Hmm.
So that's what started my this odyssey, you could say.
Hmm.
This I started reading all of Philip K. Dick's works, actually from the most recent backwards.
Okay.
I started reading Valis and Radio Free Albemuth and Transmigration of Timothy Archer and so on, and I was absolutely fascinated.
Okay.
And at the same time, I was also a director. I just done a few shorts and I directed a feature. And I thought there was probably a space for the more speculative kind of sci-fi that's usually missing for the market. So
Right.
a group of us got together and we decided, well, let's put together a little event here.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just happened to be just happened to be meeting Issa Hackett, who is Philip K. Dick's daughter in New York. She was promoting the her father's book, or actually philosophical ruminations called The Exegesis. So
Hmm.
there, I approached her and said, well, it would be really nice if we could do a festival in your dad's name. And she loved it. Yeah, that said that would be a great idea. So I followed up with a couple of emails with her, and then about a year later, we had the first Philip K. Dick Festival,
Hmm.
hosting actually Radio Free Albemuth, which is an independent sci-fi feature based on Philip K. Dick's work.
Okay.
So we were very happy to really get that. That was in 2012, exactly 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. So this is a milestone right now.
It sure is. We were never sure how long we could last. Festivals come and go, and trends come and go. But
Hmm.
you had I always felt that Philip K. Dick resonates with a lot of sci-fi writers and non-sci-fi people. I think that some of the themes that he explores are very much themes that we are in touch with, especially since the pandemic. So
Yeah.
I think if anything, Philip K. Dick is more popular. That is, there have been movies based on his work, such
Right.
as Blade Runner or Minority Report, but now finally the man behind the movies is being
Right.
recognized. I think there are two biopics that are being made in 2023
Hmm.
on him. So it's a good time, and I think more and more people are waking up to his work.
Right. And I love the fact that it's not just science fiction as a blockbuster, but as more of almost like an independent film genre. Very introspective, very analytical of society, of the soul. And I love that science fiction can bring out these stories that are very meaningful. So that's
Right. Exactly. Yes. Science fiction, especially the kind of films that we show at our festival, are influenced by the themes of Philip K. Dick.
Mhm.
So you could think of the kind of films like a sneak preview into maybe 5 years from now, what the kind of society we'll be living 5 years from now.
Right.
So it's definitely a good place to be. It's a kind of a foreshadowing of what's
Yeah.
coming, and we find it very appropriate that this is the 10th anniversary. In fact, is we actually celebrating his birthday on December 16th. He was born um, December 16, 1928. So
Okay.
that would mean his 94th birthday.
Wow.
So that's happens to fall that same day. So I think Philip K. Dick really is stands tall amongst many sci-fi writers, and he never saw himself as a sci-fi writer. He saw himself first as a novelist, even though he admitted that the vehicle he used to promote his ideas was at that time in the 1970s regarded as pulp fiction, as regarded as second maybe for mentally ill people and so on. But I think he began to recognize even towards the end of his life that finally science fiction was getting his due. I mean, and right now Philip K. Dick is regarded as a literary giant up there with the other famous writers.
Right. He's up there with Roddenberry and
Oh, absolutely. And he's not seen just as a sci-fi writer now. He's just seen as someone who really is exploring, almost as kind of a writer you would associate maybe with Jules Verne or
Mhm.
H.G. Wells, speculative fiction.
Hmm. Very great. And I love how this festival is basically a tribute to the man's body of work. And it's such a body of work. But I am curious, how does this festival compare to other film festivals?
How does it compare?
Yeah.
Well, I think that the focus is on the interface, exploring the interface of technology and humanity. While other festivals in science fiction may focus on different aspects, from very Ed Wood style sci-fi to more space operas, you
Hmm.
know, we
Right.
try to keep it closer to home.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we might have a short that focuses on the implications. What happens when you take a dating app and take it to the next level?
Hmm.
What happens if you have virtual reality and it's designed to increase dopamine addiction, like very much like the social media is doing, but take it to what happens to. So it's an exploration of how technologies become so much part of who we are.
Right.
While before it was a part of us, now it's almost we're integrated with it. So a lot of the films explore what if
Hmm.
take this to the next level. What if we find an app that we can actually connect to the spirit world and
Hmm.
so on. So it makes so it sets us apart from that. Um, One thing that I'm really proud of this year is that our festival finally has we're getting films from all six continents. We got several films from Africa, from South Africa this year. We have from South America, from Europe, from Asia,
Okay.
and across different ethnic and diverse lines.
Okay.
It really proves that there is unity, there is diversity in unity in science fiction. So we've seen films from that are directed by Native American here, actually in Long Island,
Huh.
and we have one that was that got the permission of an Aboriginal tribe and with Native American. So I'm really happy that we're finally able to branch out and explore science fiction as seen through the lenses of various different cultures, not just
Right.
European culture or Western culture, but through Aboriginal culture, through Native American culture, through African culture
Mhm.
and even Inuits as well. So we
Right.
it's a very satisfying feeling.
Right. I love that it's also a globally recognized art form, science fiction,
Exactly,
which
exactly.
and it reaches pretty much all wakes of life, which is really impressive. And yeah, the festival seems incredible in promoting that diversity through unity. I love that quote from you. It's very good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We find you even there's diversity and unity, which is science fiction. So it's kind of like brings up all of us together, which
Mhm.
really need at this day and age. With too much focus on diversity, but not enough. And what is that going to bring all of us together while still recognizing the diversity up within each other?
Okay. What are some of the highlights this year, film wise?
Well, first of all, we have two world premieres. One of them actually already sold out. For its capsules is opening up on Thursday night at the 7 p.m. show. Then we have the Sunday. We have also starring Tom Sizemore. Um, it's called Imperatus, and it's gotten amazing. It's gotten some very good reviews, and it's sort of a metaphysical thriller. I would say describe it as that.
Nice.
In terms of documentaries, we have a one called "A Tear in the Sky," directed by Carolyn Corey, where she explores the UAP phenomenon, and it
Okay.
has celebrities like William Shatner, Travis Taylor, the scientist behind the UAP, and also insert in the also is behind the series The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. So they're exploring what is this UAP phenomenon the way it's so much and trying to find contact. Can you recreate the phenomenon? So
Hmm.
very interesting documentary. And in terms of shorts, we got really a wide selection of shorts to draw upon
Hmm.
um, from what from well, I would say a French called the Mother Lord, which is a woman who is being impregnated by an alien, and she's experiencing what it means to be a human with an alien embryo. Very strange, surreal kind of. Then we have a great one actually. I think it's called Red Gaia, which is this a zombie finds itself not a zombie, a cyborg finds itself the last cyborg in a planet that has been devastated. It's post Earth,
Okay.
and is this cyborg has achieved a kind of a sentient awareness. It's trying to reach out to it's trying to basically save its soul. So it's an exploration of the metaphysical realities
Hmm.
that here in the West and in the East we've talked about in the past, from Kabbalah to the Bardo.
Hmm.
It's an amazing short. It's called Red Gaia.
Okay. Like
But
that.
yeah, that's a good one. I would say that's one of my favorite ones.
Hmm.
Um, Whichever one we have, Convergence. It has Eric Roberts in it. Won many awards. It's short. So we have I obviously have over half a dozen shorts directed by New Yorkers,
Oh, great, great.
and so let's make sure we represent there.
Sure.
So it's a pretty diverse, entertaining kind
Hmm.
of approach. You know.
Okay. How many films in total this year?
This year we kept it a little bit smaller than usual. I think we have let's see, six. We got about 58 films,
Okay.
and I also want to mention we started our screenwriting program
Oh,
2 years back, so we have semifinalists
okay.
that also have been will be attending the festival, screenwriters.
Okay.
And so we feel that it's important to maintain good. The heart of a good film is the writing. So
Yeah.
you can have all the special effects in the world, but if the writing is terrible, the film is going to fall apart. So
Great.
we are encouraging good writing. It's
Hmm.
like really because you can do a lot if your acting and your writing is good. You can make a film for just a few $1,000s
Right.
on HD, and it'll be an amazing film. So that's what we're trying to focus, encourage that thinking that it's not just special effects and glitz and sizzle, where you actually got to have a good product there.
Yeah, the script is definitely the heart and soul of the film, and without it, everything else will just suffer. So
Mhm.
you definitely need a strong story. I totally agree with that. Um, Now I'm curious, when you're selecting, when you're programming the festival, what goes into your mind? Like, how do you go about picking the films?
Oh, it's a good question. We have we're half a dozen programmers that
Hmm.
look at the film, and we're generally looking at films that are of because we have different categories. So we have
Hmm.
best trailer, best um, new media, best documentary, best Philip K. Dick short, best Philip K. Dick feature, best drama. But we're looking at certain. Essentially, what we're exploring is uh, films that are not afraid of trying out different approaches to putting out the word, not breaking away from the standard narrative of the three act structure.
Hmm.
One thing that we really look for. Um, so some of our films are on the experimental side.
Hmm.
They can be very refreshing rather than the same old page 28. You're going to have the turning point, and this is what happens to the character. We want to make sure that our films reinvigorate the cinema, or at least ones that go at our festival. We're looking for ingenuity, creativity, good writing, uh, good characterization, mood, atmosphere, not so much lit special effects. Oh, we're gonna have another spaceship. I've seen that a million times.
Hmm.
Time travel, it better be something that's unusual because that's a trope that's been used to death. But it could
Right.
be but if you twist it in such a way that it's different, then okay, let's look at time travel. New tropes every year seems to explore a different aspect, a
Hmm.
different sci-fi. There have been years that are focused only on UFOs. Others are focused on virtual reality. So this year is like a mix of a little bit different themes. There's no one theme that is coming out that
Hmm.
it's really is dominating, I would say.
Okay. Well put, sir. Well put. Now, personally, what are some of your favorite science fiction films? I think I may have asked you this the last time, but it's been a while. Let's just
Yeah,
refresh our viewers.
yeah. Well, obviously, Blade Runner
Mhm.
is a big favorite. First time I saw it, I gotta be honest with you, I really was not blown away by it. That was
Oh.
many years ago, but I got to appreciate it over time.
Mhm.
And in a way, it does represent the character played by what's his name, Harrison Ford. It's a little bit of a Philip K. Dick character because
Hmm.
when you really explore him, he's not someone who's a superhero. He gets beaten up by the cyborg, and a couple times he barely knows how to fight. So it's like a little clunky guy, even though he's just and he himself might be a cyborg, right?
Right.
A replicant. So Blade Runner is 2001. That's
Of course.
another one.
Classic.
Um, Classic. And then I like to go back to those ones in the 50s that
Hmm.
really they bring up something special, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original one.
Yeah, definitely.
They really that's one of my favorite. I would say, of course, the original Matrix was really
Right.
good, the
Right.
first one. Um, and Inception. I mean, I thought that Inception was also very interesting. Had an interesting theme.
Now, for
Um,
me, another Philip K. Dick story, I believe, it inspired Total Recall, if I'm not mistaken.
yes.
Yeah, you can buy it for wholesale, or
You can
or
buy wholesale. That's
right,
right. Right. That was, in fact, there were two fit versions of that. One with Schwarzenegger and the other one with Colin Farrell. You
right.
know.
Yeah, the remake
Um,
wasn't as good as the Schwarzenegger version, but it was still decent. Um,
yeah.
you know.
Anytime it's gonna be done by Hollywood,
Hmm.
they're gonna try to change it around a little bit.
Mhm.
I think the Man in the High Castle, at least the first season, was interesting.
Okay.
Then when they kind of remember, the Man in the High Castle is an unfinished book. It
Mm.
never ends, doesn't end conclusively.
Okay.
Whereas in the series, they do try to end it in a kind of Hollywood style. But at least the first season is it's good. What
Mhm.
other? That's for in the TV series.
Right.
What else? I mean, those are like some of the main ones that I think that are, Village of the Damned, the original one.
Okay.
I thought that it was,
I saw the remake recently by John Carpenter.
yeah,
Not great, so I had to go back and
the
check out the.
original one with what's his name, George, get the
Hmm,
famous British actor.
okay.
Yeah, I would recommend that one as a old classic sci-fi.
Yes.
Um, what else? Soylent Green, you
Hmm.
know, good film. You know, has a even the Omega Man with Charlton Heston. A little cheesy, but you know,
Yeah.
I can live with that.
A lot of
Uh,
sci-fi movies from the 70s were pretty cheesy.
yeah, they definitely had that. That factor was fairly high.
Yeah, it was hit
But
or miss though, but some of them are really good. I
Soylent
actually,
Green was a good one. Good one.
how, what do you think of the works of David Cronenberg?
Love David Cronenberg. It was another one of my favorites. I would say, I mean, almost every one of those films I love. Everything from,
Mhm.
what is it? The Dead Zone. That's an
Yep.
amazing film. And it kind of, in a weird way, kind of forecasts what happened to America. You
Mm,
know, what's happening in terms of the radicalization of the country. The
right.
Dead Zone is good. What other films? Not so much. I haven't seen so much of the more recent ones, but what
Yeah.
was it? The one with Blondie. What was her name? What was the name of
Oh,
that? It was the Videodrome.
oh yeah, that's a great one. Classic.
That's a great one. Yeah, that was
Thank
one.
you.
That's actually one of my favorites. Yeah.
Nice.
So Cronenberg's good. You know, and then we have someone like John Carpenter,
Hmm.
which I anyone who wants to see a really good kind of a Philip K. Dick themed inspiration, I would say, In the Mouth of Madness
Okay. Oh yeah.
by Sam Neill. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very meta, very movie within a movie, book within
Movie
a book.
within a movie. Yes. It's
Yeah.
about a writer whose fiction is so powerful, it actually alters reality. It
Hmm.
alters the reality that we live in. And then, so yeah, I thought that was a really well done film.
Very underrated, I must say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that was actually part of a trilogy of Carpenter's. It was The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, I love Prince of Darkness. I've seen it
Yeah,
about half a dozen times.
it's so great. Another underrated movie. So sad, but these
Yeah,
are classics
and
for
when you
sure.
think about it, these films like something like it was done in basically one location,
Yeah, that one
and he was able, but
church
the
house.
story is very interesting, very
Yeah,
so yeah. I mean, a lot can be done with a good story, and I think that what a lot of writers today need to, or budding sci-fi writers, is to really look at what's happening to the world today,
yeah,
and take it to the next level. Like see what's the next thing, the next paradigm shift, like something like when the Matrix came up, which by the way was is pretty much inspired by a lot of Philip K. Dick.
hmm,
Uh, that really was a seismic shift in the way we perceive reality there, and so I think there's a kind of a consensus that we need to look at what's the next step, the next radical shift in our way of perceiving reality,
yeah.
and well, hopefully that will come from someone out there.
I think a good science fiction film be a commentary on society, uh, and also entertain at the same time. If you can achieve that balance of education and entertainment, then that's a perfect science fiction film, I think.
Oh, sure. I mean, science fiction has been used often to as a commentary on what's happening to the culture, the fears and the concerns of the culture.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely to be able to do so in a way that's entertaining makes it more compelling. And you're
Mhm.
more likely to really make an impact than just have someone do a documentary
Yeah.
on what has happening to the culture. Uh, it's more way. It's a better way to influence people to
Yeah.
do it in the right way.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, so what do you hope audiences take away from this film festival?
Well, I think that hopefully they will become more appreciative of Philip K. Dick and what he's brought to the table. Hopefully, they'll be able to maybe even go back to his original works
Hmm.
and start reading.
Hmm.
And actually, the actual novels. He wrote 121 short stories, I think, for over 40 novels.
Hmm.
And I think that also should be a kind of a warning, or at the very least, yeah, of what happens when you take something and don't and take it to the next level without balancing out its countervailing effects.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of these things are kind of a simulation of what's going to happen if we continue this path.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people can just say, "Oh, it's entertaining," or hey, say, realize, "Hey, we're heading here
Mm.
unless we do something different."
Yeah.
There's still time. So, and Philip K. Dick was, even though a lot of his films or shorts and features were set in dystopic worlds, I think there was always an element of optimism and hope for the individual. That there
Wow.
was still a way for the individual to remain dignified, remain grounded, even though it might be surrounded in a world that was really more and more bizarre and surreal.
Mhm. Okay.
And I would say that's the positive side of Philip K. Dick. It's not just gloom and doom, and it's like, hey, this is a love and hate relationship with technology. We
Hmm.
gotta be aware that technology can help us, but also can hinder us
Right.
from really becoming more human. So,
Hmm.
and it's no accident that a lot of these writings, the cyborgs become more human, and the
Right.
humans become more like cyborgs.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
They
and
flip it,
that's happening already. We're
Yeah.
becoming more like the machines. So,
I
and that's something to be aware of. You know.
I mean, it's very scary the state of affairs, society and technology. That relationship is getting closer and closer. It's very much evident of a Philip K. Dick story. It's like we're mirroring that fiction. The fiction is sadly becoming reality.
Well, that's the thing. That's while 10 years ago when we first started, a lot of the themes seemed really pure sci-fi. Now they are not sci-fi. For
Hmm.
instance, right now, very routinely the media will talk about UAPs. Now they what you call UFOs, but now there are there's this phenomenon in the sky. We don't know what it is, but we're exploring it.
Right.
While during the time of Philip K. Dick, the idea of us living in a simulation seemed really far fetched.
Hmm.
Now you have scientists like Neil Tyson say, yeah, there's a possibility this may all be a big game, a simulation.
Hmm.
Uh, Genetic engineering, um, therapy, all these things that 10 years ago didn't seem like really this is far out. They're here. So we're already living in a Philip K. Dick universe. So we don't,
Yeah.
and that's the takeaway. We just need to how to adjust to it. You know.
It's scary and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a
Um,
lot of different messages and the key is well, the one thing I want to mention is
hmm.
that Philip K. Dick, despite all his at the end remained an extreme skeptic of he always was became aware how belief systems can limit us.
Hmm.
So some people might be aware that he had an experience back in 2374 where he felt he was in first century Rome and so on.
Hmm.
But his attitude was not to just say, okay, I'm going to turn this into a religion or like a L. Ron Hubbard or Scientology, but so maybe it was a psychotic break. Maybe I did see God. Maybe it was a too many drugs, too much acid, too much amphetamines, or maybe it was just a revelation. So it was always
Hmm.
questioning his own what is, and that's something we need to go back to that to critical thinking. Don't
Okay.
just take something because you see it on the news or you read it in the paper. Really, if you're really into it, do your own research
Yeah.
and find out and decide for yourself this is true or not. Don't just let some talking head say this is the way or that. And I think that's one big takeaway that a lot of regarding Philip K. Dick. You have to always be aware of your own BS, meaning
Yeah.
belief systems. You know,
Gotcha.
and that's a big one because I think it's he at the end proved that he was willing to accept that a reality that's far more complex than he can even explain.
All right then. All right. Well, Dan, we have just a couple minutes left. I
Sure.
just want to see, are there any plugs you want to make? Any other projects you're currently working on?
Well, I mean, I'm considering writing a work. I mean, follow up on the festival is my work. I'm working on a book called better what's better feeling through better living through sci-fi. You
Hmm.
know, like
Nice.
back in the 50s is better living through chemistry, right? So exploring how sci-fi is really a not just entertaining, but it's a way of unleashing the imagination. Think of sci-fi as the science of tomorrow, basically. Time travel. Um, I'm not sure if you were there, but we've had a physicist who's working on a way of sending particles back in time.
Huh.
Very a legitimate tenured physicist at UConn, and we had him a couple of times at our festival. So even time travel, which is
Yeah.
probably one of the most sci-fi things you can think of, now is becoming more of a reality. So
Yeah.
think about that. Is sci-fi opens the doors to the imagination. What's out there, you can make it happen.
I love it. And that reminds me a little bit of Prince of Darkness, combining science with the supernatural, which is
Yeah,
always fascinating to me when you see that on film. That
absolutely, absolutely. So I would say that's the better living through sci-fi. That's it.
nice. Great title. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So hopefully we'll have something out by next year.
Cool. And maybe I'll have you back on for that.
Fantastic. Love to have you back. And anytime you want to stop by, I know you're in Queens, but
Yeah.
we're doing our festival in Astoria.
I know that
So,
was going to be my next thing. How can people attend the festival? What's the website? Where can they go?
well, we have one night. The opening night is at the Producers Club. It's a small but very charming little place on 44th Street.
Mm,
It's called the Producers Club, 358 West 44th. So we're going to be opening up on Thursday. We're going to be running from 4 to 11 p.m. But for those who want to go or in Queens or want to, partake of a futuristic sci-fi museum, I recommend you go to the Museum of the Moving Image,
nice.
which is located in Astoria. And first of all, the street itself is right next to the Kaufman Studios, so you get a sense of the grandeur of that. You get there's something there in that particular block
Mm,
that is special, that's unique. The museum itself is a kind of a tribute to all the sci-fi films, the sets, costumes. And you might actually on the third floor there's still a replica of the Tyrell building
right.
that you see in the beginning opening scene of Blade Runner.
I've
So
actually been going to that museum since I was a little kid, and it is truly a second home to me. It is just a tribute to all things film and TV, the history,
absolutely, it's
and
really a
it's
place,
it's great.
and I couldn't think of a better place to have the festival there. That's why we've
That's
been doing it since 2012, and
mm,
happy to that they have brought us back after the pandemic
mm,
to restart the festival there. So yeah, the Museum of the Moving Image Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll have multiple blocks. So if you want to go find out who's playing where, the best way is go to our website, which is the Philip K. Dick Film Festival, the THE Philip K. Dick Film Festival.com.
okay.
That's the best way for getting information. And lastly, for those who are maybe not even at home or not in New York, we actually did set up an online edition of the festival.
Okay.
Not all the films will be shown, but I think we had three blocks. So that's also available on our website. You can click and buy your ticket, and we'll have films on Saturday, Sunday. We're gonna have a Facebook Live opening up on Friday night, so we'll have interviewing. So just go on Facebook, and you'll see me or one of our programmers interviewing some of the filmmakers. We want to
Right.
make it more interactive, make it tribal, really bring people together so they can feel we're all part of one large family.
That's it. That's the unity again.
The
I
unity.
love it.
That's right.
And also the museum, the entrance to the screening room at the museum, literally looks like a spaceship, like you're boarding a UFO.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I
And
love
and
it.
the where we're gonna have our Friday night screening will be at the Redstone,
Okay.
which if you've been there, is huge, and it does look like a spaceship.
Yes.
It's like you're going in. That's the mothership.
Yes.
And you
Lit-
go in. It's amazing. It's cavernous and it's an amazing. It's almost reminiscent of the old school cinema.
Very
Before yeah.
immersive experience. So
Absolutely. So I think for anyone who's interested in sci-fi, Philip K. Dick, who also wants to partake of the museum's offerings for $12. That's it. I think it's 12 or 15. You get to see all that, and I think it's a good deal. It's a good deal for your dollar.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm very excited about the festival. This is amazing. Dan, I want to thank you so much for your time and your enthusiasm for the festival. It's going to be great. I know it.
Well, and Randy, as I said, doors open anytime you want to stop by. Let us know. Let Jonathan know. We'd
Okay.
be there more than happy to introduce you to the whole team.
That's great. Thank you so much for the invitation. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, this has been Unger the Radar. I'm Randy Unger. I want to thank Dan Abella, and the Philip K. Dick Film Festival is this week, so go check it out, guys. This was great. Dan, everybody watching and listening, thanks so much. We'll see you soon.